So I thought it'd be useful to do a video about Sportsbook PPC agency, an explanation, and why most new Sportsbooks PPC campaigns tend to lose money. Um, Firstly, if you've ever launched a Sportsbook PPC campaign and watched your money disappear with very little return quite quickly, you're not alone. In fact, most new Sportsbooks PPC campaigns lose money, and that's not because PPC doesn't work, but because it's usually done badly or by agencies that don't know how sportsbook acquisition actually works. Plus, also, you have to build up quite a bit of data and credibility with Google or any PPC campaign on the specific ads and keywords and such like. For instance, if you launch a sportsbook PPC campaign on Google without a quality negative keyword list, you might find 80-90% of your money getting flushed away on low value irrelevant keywords. So me, for instance, I've been building a negative keyword list for 20 years or so now. I plug that in from day one. That often saves tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds in the long run. So the first thing to understand is that PPC isn't the problem. It works. I mean, look at companies like Google and Meta. They built themselves off the back of PPC. So it does work. You can't doubt PPC and platforms like Facebook and Google as a concept. But you can, of course, doubt whoever is managing that or whatever agency is managing that. And from what I've seen, a lot of agencies tend to treat sportsbook pay-per-click like it's e-commerce or lead gen or generic finance ads. But with sportsbook, it's a completely different animal. You're dealing with compliance, gambling ad policies, geo-restrictions, player intent cycles, odds-driven behaviour. Most people are looking on Google for odds and information, not for a new bookie. And you've also got to consider it's highly competitive. So if your sales funnel and landing pages aren't smart, if you go and try bidding $50, $100 a click up against the big competitors that have got a seasoned, well-funneled journey, again, you can burn through tens or hundreds of thousands quite quickly. I guess one of the most common mistakes is to start too broad. I've seen a lot of agencies and I've taken over setups where they're going for generic betting keywords and big match terms and high volume event traffic. That traffic is very expensive, it's unfocused and it often converts terribly, particularly if your landing page doesn't match. You know, it's all very well going out and putting out ads and creatives about the next big event in sport, but if you haven't got a landing page and bonus offer that matches that, you're going to be wasting a lot of money. So, I mean, you've really got to start narrow and laser focused. Stick with those high intent search terms, look for specific markets or bet types or sports. And it's really about identifying the user intent and how that is tied to deposit behavior. Because if you don't control intent early on, then your CPA can very easily spiral out of control and cost you a lot of money. Another big mistake I see is ignoring the funnel. So optimizing for clicks, reading the Google stats about quality score and click-through rates, they're vanity metrics for them. Those metrics make them money, not you. You need to be focusing on post-click conversions, click to registration, registration to FTD rates, and equally importantly, the value of those players. Because if you're hoovering up free bets traffic, yeah, your CPA targets might look good, but you could end up losing a lot of money focusing those incentive keywords. In fact, I banned those about 15 years ago. I haven't put the word free or no deposit in any of my PPC campaigns since about 2010. Another huge issue is just not focusing on the KPIs that matter, which is the CPA, the NGR, lifetime value. That's it, really. You're spending money to make money. You're not spending money to pull in players that don't make you money. And those incentivized keywords are an absolute nightmare. Free spins, no deposit, free bets. Those sort of keywords they look great on your KPIs at the end of the month when you've pulled in a big volume of players at a low CPA. But 3 to 6 months down the line where you've realised you've lost tons of money focusing on the crappy end of the players, the lowest value players, and you're getting yourself fired for losing a load of money, it doesn't seem such a smart strategy. So you really need to understand, and if you're hiring a new sportsbook PPC agency, get them to explain to you how traffic turns into players, where the drop-off happens, and how they optimize just beyond the click, because otherwise they're just flying blind. And the other thing that's crucially important these days is compliance. Quite often, operators learn that the hard way these days. They put in urgency, they put in keywords and claims that they shouldn't on their ads and landing pages, and they end up with a big fine, or they end up getting their license suspended. And then those vanity metrics and the inexperienced agencies that were a little bit cheaper than the others, well, that's not such a great deal now, you can't trade anymore, is it? And that's happening more frequently, particularly over here in the UK, and heavily regulated markets like those US states. So poor sportsbook setup and management and inexperience will lead to disapproved ads, suspended accounts, suspended domains, and very often you can't, these are irreversible with platforms like Google. If you get your domain banned, it's a one-way street. You can't get it reinstated. So it's crucially important that you choose experience over somebody that's cheap, basically. You can, like I say, it's very easy to get banned permanently of some of these platforms, and then that can have a real knock-on effect, because Google can also ban affiliates with your site on. So if you get your domain banned for not managing Google properly, you will then find any affiliate that wants to advertise on Google, they might not be able to either. So you don't just get your own site banned from Google, but any affiliate that runs on Google will now kick you off, and you're banned from advertising on other sites as well. So it's really all about compliance these days, and there's no loopholes or shortcuts or quick wins like there used to be many years ago when it wasn't so heavily regulated. So if you ever speak to an agency and they're talking about getting round policies or loopholes or shortcuts, just be really careful, because if you have to go and to explain to your boss that you've just got yourself banned off Google and it's going to cost your company millions of pounds, you're not going to have a job, and your reputation could be poisoned forever. So moving on to what a good sportsbook PPC agency actually does, they focused on controlled testing phases. It's not a spending competition. A proper PPC campaign is throttled based on success. If a client says to me, I want to spend 200,000 a month, I'm not going to spend that. I'm not going to split it into 30 every month. You have to ramp up and base it on success and react to that success, really. And it's all about intent-led keyword structures. Forget about that incentivized stuff. It's rubbish. Geo-specific compliance, you have to understand there's a completely different set of rules in each country, and that goes for the ad copy, the licensing, the application process, and of course the copy on the landing pages. These days, with the likes of Google and Meta, you can't advertise in the UK and push the users to a landing page with euros on it. You can't advertise in Europe and push users to a page with dollars on it, because it just doesn't fit. You get flagged for circumventing systems, which is one of Google's most popular objections for blocking gambling sites. And of course, to state the obvious, don't try and put any ads out before you've been certified by Google, because you'll just get yourself banned and completely waste your time. And you really have to focus on the landing pages. The landing pages are critical. I've seen hundreds of them. And any kind of sensible affiliate or PPC agency will look at that landing page and understand that it's mission critical. And it only costs a couple of $100 to make a good landing page, so there's no excuse to shortcut on that. And it's all about constant optimization. I can't emphasize how quickly PPC campaigns will deteriorate, particularly the keyword-based ones, because they always want to sell you the keywords that other people don't want to buy. So Google's system will always be working towards selling you clicks at the highest possible price. That's the function of Google Ads platform. Sell the clicks at the highest possible price. So if you've got a campaign that someone's been working on every day and the CPA is coming down, If you suddenly, in your arrogance, think, well, we've got our CPA that we need now, let's just leave it to run itself, you will find over time it will decay and deteriorate, and that CPA will go up, and the quality player will go down and down as Google does its best to sell you the clicks that other people don't want to buy at the highest possible rate. I mean, from my own sportsbook and iGaming PPC agency, our objectives are really compliance and long-term campaigns. We don't promise overnight wins. We don't guarantee CPAs. We don't guarantee volumes ever. We never have. I never have, because you never know until you put a particular brand and landing page and had a bit of a drive of it for at least a few weeks. It's statistically impossible to forecast what might happen, because you never know how a brand will react. Google will give you forecasts, but they're utter nonsense. They're the most inaccurate forecasts I've probably seen in 20 odd years of marketing casinos and sportsbooks. So if you're looking to launch a sportsbook PPC campaign, either for a new brand or for an established brand, I've been averaging reductions of roughly 70% over the last 2 years. When I take over campaigns from other agencies, that's a reduction in CPA costs. I've got towards 100 case studies, testimonials, reviews to back that all up on my website. Do please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And finally, I've put some links to some books about some books about iGaming marketing that I've written recently, and also some links with my contact details. If you'd like a second opinion, a quote, bit of consultancy, or just a chat, do please get in touch. Thanks very much for your time.